Hey guys, what's up? This is Scher talking. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be doing a review of Asellus, Rocbouquet, Taria, and T260G, the 4 characters that are available for the upcoming banner that is called the Prefecture banner. And in order to understand this, it was a collaboration with the Prefecture of SaGa, because there is a Prefecture in Japan that's called SaGa, and the characters have some interesting outfits, but it was super hyped by the community, and there's a reason for this, because there is 2 characters here that were regarded as the highest tier possible on release, and they are Asellus and Rocbouquet. Not only they are good, but the 2 other characters are also pretty strong by themselves with different roles, and we'll be discussing them on this video. Hopefully it can help you decide if you want to summon or not. Most people in the community will summon for, most are already saving gens for this. So we will start with the first one being Rocbouquet. So we are now on our SaGa website, and as you can see, there are many different styles of Rocbouquet in this game. We have 4 different SSs and an S and an A. All of them have different reasons for you to have. The A style is also very important for one skill, and then this is the one that we can summon for. This is not the latest one. In Japan, the latest one is this one, because it was released like 1 month ago, I believe. So, one thing that is common between all the different styles of Rocbouquet is the insanely high intelligence. As you can see, the Platinum very first style of Rocbouquet already had 92% intelligence. That's pretty high, and then this one beats by having 96, and then in the future she will have 99. That's pretty close to the highest values we have in the game. Rocbouquet is a water and dark mage, and this was a strange combination, with some styles of her focusing too much on water and some others focusing too much on dark. Also, just out of curiosity, as you can see, you will be farming with the latest 2 versions of her once you get, because this current release is better for agility farm, and the A version from New Year's is better for intelligence farm. First skill is called Dark Pulse. It's an AoE attack that has E power 8 modifier. I believe that you can compare this skill to Mei-Ling slash plus lightning attack, and they are very good characters to be used together. Dark Pulse by itself is pretty strong because it starts with 4 BP, so it can be reduced to 3, meaning that she will always have the skill available. This is pretty strong for her kit, and she becomes one of the best characters for, you know, Squid, for tower, for a lot of things that you have to keep dealing damage. She does not lose momentum. Mei-Ling loses because she needs 4 BP to use her attack. This one is super good because it also hits for 2 elementals, lightning and dark. She also comes with a special staff in her event that will allow her to attack with both elements without, well, having to choose only one. Up to this point, you have to choose between water or shadow staffs, and now this problem will be solved with her own special staff. The second attack is called Black Thunder, and is incredibly powerful for single target damage. Black Thunder, as you can see, starts with 7 but goes to 5 BP. It has 27 modifier. It's pretty close to A, because A starts with 28. So you can even ignore it being B and consider it being A, like Heaven and Earth attacks and a lot of other attacks that are used as skill number 2, like a Ward, Final Empress, and many others. This is a very powerful attack that can be used 3 times in a row. So if you want to, well, use her for single target damage, she can use this 3 times in a row very easily. And then the last attack is called Enchanted Squid Wrath. This attack here is the Squid attack, and it's, well, very powerful by itself. As you can see, it's also lightning and moon, like all of her 3 attacks. And this one is a random attack. It will attack between 3 to 5 times. The power is not that high. As you can see, it's only 11 with deep power. But you have to understand, like I already said in the past, a skill damage comes from the combination of the weapon power and the skill power. The skill power is only 11, but it gets upgraded if you get this to level 99. And you also should add the power of the weapon, that it should be around 32. 32 plus 11, but 11 should be upgraded to around, I believe, 16 or 17. The power will be very high if you manage to land 5 attacks. Even on 3 attacks is not that bad. It should be close to what we get with skills that use 12 BP already. and in 5 times it will be stronger than, a little stronger than the attack from Polka, Scatter Explosions. But when you compare to Polka, Polka is way better because he can use this faster. His attack only uses 9 BP. Here we have to use 12. She has more damage because of more intelligence and better passives, but, well, the cost is higher. And now we have to discuss her passives. The first one is the only one that I don't like, but it comes with Rocbouquet. All of her versions are also about charm. The first one has a chance to inflict charm with 10% for 4 turns, but only on the beginning of the round. So you start the fight, she has this 10% chance of doing this, and if it lands, it lands. If it doesn't land, you will not have any use for this passive for the whole round. The second one is called Weakness Concentration 3, and it increases the damage by weak attacks by 15%. That's pretty important because she attacks usually hitting enemy weaknesses. There are 2 different attacks that are not usual combinations. Moon and Lightning are very different to see together. And, well, you will have to bring the weak plus stone with her, because she will be hitting for 2 different elements. So it also works well with the second passive. And then Fired Up 5. We had Fired Up 5 starting with Mirza, and now we have Fired Up 5 with this girl as well. So 35% increasing damage on all times when hitting for weaknesses, and that is pretty high for a character that has insanely high intelligence. As you can see, 96 intelligence is pretty high. I must say that her agility is not so high for most mages. Most mages have around 70s, sometimes have close to 80s, and then she only has 62. There is a problem here, but this is one of those characters that she will upgrade to level 50, and you have some time to work with her agility as well. But Rocbouquet becomes one of the best characters for AoE farming since she has control over 2 elements. But there's one problem with her as well. As you can see, the first attack is 3 VP, but how can you start the sequences to get AoE damage? Well, you have to inherit something. And one of the options is getting Energy Storm from her Platinum style. The good thing, you don't even have to awaken the skill. And this one has a C power, it's pretty strong, but it's only shadow damage, moon damage. The other option is to start with Valentine's Redemption. This one is pretty strong as well, it's even stronger than Energy Storm and has a chance to inflict charm, but only for male enemies. And then there's another option that's called Soul Freeze. This attack here is only available if you got her New Year's style, and this one has to be awakened 2 times at least, and it has a small chance to inflict Paralyze. But a small chance with someone that has 96 intelligence is pretty strong. As you can see, 96 is one of the highest value you have for a while. So, even small, it's a very high chance to inflict Paralyze. You have control over Paralyze and Charm if you have her Valentine's version. But this one most people will have because it was released on the same banner as Nawal's daughter. A lot of people will have. And that's the options that you have with this. I will not be discussing her future style because it's just so far in the future, and it also adds more value instead of removing value from this one. Okay, and now back to the skills. She works as an AoE attacker, if you can inherit. She works as a single target damage dealer with very good cycling between BP. And she also works as a nuker with her 3rd skill. You can have the 2 most important holders as a mage, AoE and single target with easy with this character. So that's the reason why she was hated 10 out of 10 in Japan, and this is also my grade for her because it's a very rare combination, and you also get her staff here. But if you get this character in returning banners where you don't have access to the staff, it's another thing. She's only that powerful because you can get access to her staff, okay? 10 out of 10, one of the most important characters right now on release. And now it's the time to talk about Asellus. As you can see, we have 5 different styles of Asellus. This one is a tower style, and all the other ones will be limited. This one was the White Days one, this was an award one, this is the Prefecture one, and this is the Halloween one. It's interesting to say that this one is still very important, the award, and there is a higher cap to SDR, and the Prefecture one has a higher cap to agility. So you still keep changing between the 2 when you want to reach the max potential. Now discussing the modifiers, as you can see, 90% from the Prefecture version, It's pretty high for well sword users. Usually great sword users have a little higher STR, but she has 90s, and that's pretty high already. And even when you compare the passives, she has very similar endurance, very similar dexterity, way higher agility. There's a reason for this. A little higher intelligence as well. Interesting, because we will still be using Mirage Step from this version into this one, and there is a lower will, but not by much, and very close charm and love. Well, the important thing about this is just that this is the latest version of Asellus in Japan, and it became important and useful for a whole year. Yes, a whole year this character was relevant, and it's still relevant up to this day in Japan. The reasons why are because of how she works. And the first skill is called Spirit. This one is incredible because it gives herself a morale up buff and a guard up buff, and also recovers 1 BP. What essentially it gives is 25% increase in damage and 25% decrease in incoming damage. It's both offensive and defensive, and she also recovers 1 BP. You have to understand that when you awaken this, you will use this by 0 BP and recover 1, so this becomes better for her to use her second skill. And the second skill is Fast Triple Thrust. This attack here is the same one that we can use with the Annie that got added to Story, that we get as a drop. This is a very powerful attack. 52 is higher than the normal 45 that some characters have, and it's also pretty cheap. I mean, it's 8 BP. You can use this twice in a 3-turn cycle. This starts to become a trend after the release of Asellus. But it also has double elements. It's slash plus pierce damage, meaning that your Asellus will be one character to be used for 2 types of content, slash and pierce weak content. And it becomes even stronger when you consider that the first skill increases her morale up by 25%, also increasing the damage of this skill. You can start to fight, use the first skill and then use the second one, and then return to the first skill, use the second one, and yeah, this is pretty amazing. Like I said, it's a good thing also that you will be investing on a character that will kind of reduce your need to summon 4 pierce units for a while, because you kind of don't need more than 3 damage dealers for bosses. Usually you only need 2, so you have Asellus for 2 types of content. And then the third skill is called Enya Yaoiza. I believe that this attack is one of the strongest one on release, because as you can see, the power is A and 28 modifiers, so that's very common to a lot of attacks that we have in the game that are AoE with A power. But there's a catch here. It uses only 13 BP, and usually a skill that has this power uses between 15 or 16 BP. In her case, it's only 13, and it can be reduced to 10 if you fully awaken this, meaning that she can start the fight by using this skill, a very powerful attack that can clear a wave by itself. Well, the power is very strong if you consider, and also the skill will come very fast since her agility is on 84. Very high agility for an AoE attacker. There is only one problem, is that when you use this, and if you want to use Mirage Step right after, you will not be able to, because Mirage Step uses 4 BP. But well, you have to think about some different strategy, like using Beauty on the second wave with her AoE attack as well, and then you clear the last wave with the AoE attacks coming from both styles. That should work pretty fine. Well, now let's talk about the passives. The first one is the same one that we got with the award style. It's 25% chances of negating any type of attack, direct or indirect. She just negates damage or any status elements that tries to be inflicted with 25% chance. This is one of the best passives for boss fights, and also even for farming, can save you from some challenges and also some hard stages. The second passive is Recovering Breath. She has a 25% chance of recovering on the beginning of the turn. The power is okay. You should be healing for around 300 right now, and this is even better for boss fights instead of just, well, farming. The only damage passive is the last one, called Fire the 5. Well, like Rocbouquet, she gets 25% increase on all times. Rocbouquet has 15% more by attacking weak targets, but Asellus does not have this. But she has the highest power available, and this kinda compensates, you know. she has two things that can be helpful in any case scenario. Healing is important, damage and also negation. You know, she has the best of both worlds. So for inheritance, you kind of become too reliant on getting Mirage Step from her award style. If you don't have this style, you should summon for it as soon as it becomes available again, because of Mirage Step being a very powerful attack that also debuffs intelligence. Like I said, you can just stick to it if you just leave Fast Triple Trust on 11 and Enya Iosia on 13. She would just become a machine of Mirage Step. There was a problem with the past version of Asellus because she could not just keep using Mirage Step on auto. She will always try to use Whirlwind or Sudden Pale before, and that kind of breaks some farming situations. But now she becomes a full AoE attacker that can keep using the same attack almost forever. Well, it's 4 BP, you can still use it for a lot of time. That should be very good for Squid and also Hidden Dojo, a lot of content where AoE is better than single target attacks. Well, like I said, she deserves a 10 out of 10. She is good for single target, she's good for AoE, she has two elements that are very strong, and her supportive skill is pretty useful when you are trying to face bosses. She's made for the two different types of content, that is normal farming and boss fights. Well, and now it's time to talk about T260G, and this is like the third style of her and the second SS. The A style is important into her builds, and it was also limited. It was distributed as a login bonus. This one was also limited, and we are receiving the third one. Well, this one has the highest caps for dexterity and agility, so you kinda don't need to use any of the other ones, unless you want to get some endurance. Very high endurance coming from this one. From the modifiers, as you can see, the past one had a very terrible dexterity, only 64. I really don't believe why it was so low. And this time we have 82%, that's pretty high for gun users, they never have very high dexterity. The agility is still a problem, 65, especially because she's an AoE attacker. The intelligence is pretty low, well, all the remaining status are not good. And at least the endurance is still pretty good, 72% of endurance. Okay, now giving a look on her skills. The first one, as you can see, is an AoE attack, very similar to Rocbouquet in the case that it has the same power, E, 8 modifier the same, and it's an AoE indirect attack. So 3 BP for blunt AoE that can be used all the time. Yeah, she would never fail to use this because 3 BP is what you get on every turn. That is pretty cool for farming and Squid and some other scenarios. The second one is Flamethrower, and this one is a heat attack. And it's enemy vertical line, indirect attack. This would will be useful here and there, not easy to use. Well, it's already hard to find enemies aligned in a vertical line and weak to heat as well. Not easy to find. And the power is good, it's C18. It can be reduced to 6, so you can use this twice in a row. Very nice. And then the last skill is called Hidden Knights. As you can see, it's the same power as the Asellus attack, A28. But 16 VP, so only on turn 2. That is because it has double elements. But still pretty strong. Sadly, she doesn't have all that much power to just make this so strong. Also, some problems with agility will mean that she will never go first in your setups. Time to talk about the passives. The first one is Backlash counterattack system that gives her a counterattack with the first skill, Backlash Spread, every time that she gets attacked with direct attacks. So this is just like most counter-attackers in the game, but it comes with a passive, and it always happens. It's good because her endurance is not that bad, but still not awesome in my opinion. But for those that still don't have a counter-attacker or a character that can negate damage on turn 1, she can be useful for Dojo. And the second one is called a Detox, and on the end of the turn she will just remove all status elements from herself. That's good because, well, Confuse and Charm can just make any strategy go bad. The last one is Fired Up 4. Why Fired Up 4? Don't ask me, ask the devs. Yeah, only 15 increasing damage, and it's the only damage increasing passive. That kind of reduces her damage potentials, especially since she doesn't have stellar dexterity or agility, but she's still a character that can attack AoE, damage all the time without any problem of having to wait for normal attacks. Well, but it still kind of holds her a little. In my opinion, she deserve it a little more than this. For inheritance, we really need one inheritance to make her even better, and this inheritance is this attack here called Stun Shot. Stun Shot, here called Strafing. It's a C power 10 or 8 BP attack that can stun enemies. She would not be able to stun because of her low intelligence, but the problem is just that you need to have this style, and it was limited distribution. You also have this Proton Rocket attack that is the same as you have with Fuse, that has instant kill chances here on the global version. Her intelligence is pretty low, so I believe that this should be only useful if you need hit damage or roll attack. You should stick with Stun Shot most of the time. The good thing, you don't need to awaken this. And if you are only caring about her AoE build, you should just awaken the first skill and stop here. It's a cheap investment for a character that is good, but has some limitations. So in the end, she relies on having a limited login style to be a full AoE attacker. She does not have that much agility to always attack first, but she at least has some power. She can be used on wave 2 and wave 3 by attacking with Hidden Knights and then Backslash Spread if you happen to finish the first wave with some other attacker. But she fails to have something for boss fights. Even though she has Detox, she does not have single target damage with high power. As you can see in her older styles, the attack that you could inherit is Railgun, but the damage is pretty low, only 24 modifier. At least the BP cost is low as well on 5. But still, she lacks any type of single target nuke that could help her in boss fights. In my opinion, she didn't deserve a very high grade, but because we don't have many gun users in the game right now, she deserves a 9 out of 10. But this volley decreases within time, and she loses utility faster than some other characters in this banner. Also, it's worth to say that T260G will be good for now, but she faces a lot of competition later when we see the release of the SaGa anniversary characters, the Human Man, and also Apollo and Camille. Camille and Apollo and Human Man also do blunt damage. They will be way stronger. This is another version of Camille. Camille, Apollo, and Human Man. They both do blunt damage and they are way better. And the last one is Thaila, and Thaila comes from a game that's not so popular yet, that is SaGa Scarlet Grace. That's the reason why she has only 2 SS styles. This one is Platinum, this one is the limited that we are summoning right now. As you can see, we can stick to this style forever because it has a better caps. Save for Dexterity, we don't need Dexterity with mages. For comparison to the modifiers, this limited style has lower agility, lower dexterity, but like I said, you don't need dexterity. Very close intelligence. The Platinum one already had very good intelligence, but the problem was the cycling of the skills. Then we have a higher will, higher love, that's good because we will be healing as well, and close charm. Well, for skills we have Rogue Waves. This attack here has 5 BP once fully awakened, only B power 21 modifier, pretty low in my opinion, with special damage against fishes. I wish it was around 25 or a little higher because, well, B power skills are usually around 25, especially when they cost 5 BP. But it should be useful in boss fights when we need a single target damage and, well, after using her nuke attack. The second skill is Arita Petra, and this one is, well, maybe her signature skill. It will depend. It uses 8 PP once fully awakened. It's an AoE cold attack with D power 12 modifier that has a chance to inflict Petrify, small chance. It's interesting because it's an AoE chance to inflict Petrify. We don't have many. We have Delta Petra with Award Thomas. He was the best one for this. But not many people used him because there were way many debuffers and status inflictors in this game that kind of offer more value. In Japan, she was the kind of replacement for Thomas. Higher intelligence, lower BP cost. She could use this twice in a 3-turn cycle. While Award Thomas cannot. His skill uses 9 BP. So, the damage is not that bad coming from a character with such a high intelligence, 93. But small chance is still a small chance. It will hit when an enemy has no resistance to petrify. If it has any type of resistance, it will start to fail, and it's not that reliable. But for those that still have some problems with Squid, or well, especially hidden dojo and some other content, it will help, but for manual most of the time. But you can still think about something. Because it can be used twice in a 3-turn cycle, if you can use her alongside Galahad, they will work very well together, because Galahad will be able to attack on the second wave with his nuke attack, his nuke AoE, and then she will be able to use Arita Petra on the third wave. And if she can petrify enemies, that will be very nice for farming as well. It has very high value, it's just that it will not work all the time. But when it does, it's just an extra effect. You should consider that Petrify as an extra effect. And when it lands, man, it's pretty amazing. 5 turns is busted. It's the highest amount of turns for any type of status ailments. And the last skill is called Water Crushing. This one has double S power 55 modifier. That's pretty high for the skill. But it's 13. Well, we have similar output damage with our half universalist, and she uses only 8 BP. Yeah, she can use it twice in a 3-turn cycle, but Talia cannot. She at least has this special effect against fishes again. Yeah, I don't know why she likes fishes that much. And it's at least powerful enough. The bad thing is that water crushing costs too much. So after you use it, you will have to either use normal attack or not attack for 1 turn, and then you will be able to use rogue waves, and it's not that powerful as well. So for her passive, she has the first one being 25% chances of triggering a 20% intelligence buff. The second one gives her 20% intelligence buff on the start of a round. So we have 2 passives that try to increase her intelligence. Interesting, right? That is because giving her more intelligence means you give Arita Petra more chances to petrify. Especially if some enemies have petrifying resistance like 25, 50, 125, something like that. She will have a chance to petrify them. But if the resistance is high, it will still be hard to deal with them. But if they have very high will, getting more intelligence will allow her to break the difference between enemy will and your character's intelligence to be able to petrify. But the first one relies on RNG. Okay, and the last passive is Fired Up 4, and this one gives 15% increasing damage at all times. So, this intelligence buff also increases damage. It's even more important than Fired Up 4 in my opinion. And one still relies on RNG, but by increasing her damage by intelligence buff, she will have very good AoE damage and single target damage when she wants. But I still believe that she deserved a better cycling for single targets or anything. But you cannot make it work because Arita Petra will always trigger unless you fully awaken Water Crushing. And then we have Water of Life for Inheritance that allows her to heal. Water Gun is strong, but 7 VP is too much. You cannot use it on turn 1 and turn 2. Snowstorm is a very powerful attack that, well, very comparable to other AoE nukes with 29 with fire, 13 VP coast. But because she's not so fast, as you can see here, she has some problem with speed. 52 speed is pretty low. She will not be attacking before your other attackers. So I don't think it's so easy to use her Snowstorm attack. In the end, she has some values. Rita Petra is very useful when it is. Her low agility is a problem because mages depends on both intelligence and agility to hit the enemies. With a low agility, you will also not go first when you want to petrify your enemies. So it's hard to say, but she does face some competition with Muse. The new character that we can farm from story, they have terrible agility. Muse has way lower intelligence, of course, she's a free character, but at least Muse can use 3 AoE attacks in a row because of her cycling, while or Thaila cannot. Thaila has some problems with cyclings, and then you will need Galahad to, well, use a nuke attack between her attacks. She deals way more damage than Muse. Of course, 93% intelligence is pretty high for today's standards, and she has a petrified chance. She's a way better character, but with a worse BP cycling. So in the end, Thaila is an incredible character because of the things that she can do, but she has a problem with cycling. You need help to use Anita Petra 2 times. She doesn't have that high agility to attack before being attacked. The single target cycling has some problems as well. So with the recent healers that add so many value with some added effects like Mei-Ling, it's hard to justify giving a very high grade to Thaila. In my opinion, she deserves a 8.5 out of 10. So back to the banner image, is this banner worth summoning for? In my opinion, yes. That is because we have two top tier characters here. That's just like Building's banner where we had Mei-Ling and Building. Now we have Asellus and Rocbouquet. And if you go summon on this banner and you have to pick between one and another, Rocbouquet will be easier to decide since she has a very different combination when compared to Asellus. But maybe if you are lacking too many slash damage dealers, I believe that the longevity of both characters is just too comparable. You have to decide upon which one will offer more value. But don't choose Taria or T260G, they don't offer as much value. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you still haven't. If you want to support the channel, you can use the links here in the description. We see each other on the next one. Bye.